Okay, let's just jump right in. There's this massive tension in software development right now, right? How do you move at lightning speed without, well, setting the house on fire from a security perspective? We're going to unpack something called the security velocity paradox.
Yeah, this is what's keeping engineering leaders and security folks up at night. I mean, development speed is just soaring, right? Thanks to AI and all this new automation. But it really feels like the risk, the exposure, is growing even faster. It's kind of like a classic be careful what you wish for scenario, where a really good thing creates this whole new, very serious problem.
And that feeling, that tension, it actually has a name. It's what we're calling the security velocity paradox. And at its core, it's pretty simple. The faster you go, the more you ship, the bigger and messier your security risks get. It's this direct trade off that honestly feels almost impossible to get right. Okay, but here's the thing. This isn't just some vague feeling or a trade off you just have to accept. No way. It's actually a deep structural disconnect, a fundamental problem in how we build and secure software right now. So let's really break down what that looks like. So this is the reality on the ground for so many teams. Sound familiar? Your developers are just flying, using AI to ship code like never before. Meanwhile, your security team is literally drowning in a sea of alerts from a dozen different tools. And then there's compliance. Oh boy, they need constant proof that everything's okay. And that leads to what I call the audit scramble, this nightmare of stitching together spreadsheets and screenshots at the last minute. It's just total chaos, and it's completely unsustainable. And right about now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, don't we have a million tools for this? And you're right, we do. Tools are a dime a dozen. But the problem is there's this critical, fundamental gap that pretty much all of them miss. Let's dig into why they just don't cut it. Okay, this is a really important distinction. The tools we have today, your scanners, your fancy ASBM platforms, they're all about posture. Think of it like a weather report. It tells you it might rain, it gives you a snapshot of potential risks. But what it doesn't give you is the missing piece hard, verifiable proof. It doesn't give you the receipt that says, yes, for this specific release, we checked for rain and we can prove it didn't. That's the gap. So it's pretty simple, right? If the core problem is a lack of proof, then the solution has to be a model that puts proof front and center. It's all about building a solid bridge over that gap we were just talking about. Let's see exactly how that works. I love this quote, the Switzerland of scanners. It just nails the whole philosophy. The idea here isn't to rip and replace all the security tools you've already invested in. Not at all. It's about being neutral, like Switzerland, and working with all of them to make them smarter, to add that missing layer of proof on top. And this right here is the big shift in thinking. We're moving away from just looking at our posture. Instead, we're actively generating cryptographically signed proof. Seriously, just think of it like a digital tamper-proof receipt. It's something you can hand to your pipeline, to your auditors, even to your customers, and say, here's the proof we did what we promised. The whole game changes from posture to proof. Okay, so what does this look like in the real world? Use case number one, the PR security gate. This is huge. We're talking about putting a gate right inside GitHub, so before a single line of bad code can even get merged, bam, it's blocked. But here's the best part. The developer gets clear, actionable steps on how to fix it, right there in the pull request. No more context switching. Next up, we're tackling that alert fatigue we mentioned earlier. The security team drowning in alerts. Well, this approach correlates and deduplicates all the findings from your different scanners, your SAST, DAST, SCA, the whole alphabet soup. And what that does is slash the noise. It turns that soul-crushing infinite backlog into a prioritized, manageable list that your team can actually get through. And number three, this is really the heart of it all, the proof-first model in action. For every single analysis that runs, a signed proof pack gets created automatically. You can think of it like a digital passport. It's this self-contained, audit-ready package that gets stamped and travels with that specific software release, wherever it goes. So what's actually in this proof pack? Well, you might hear it called a VSBOM. It's basically a tamper-proof bundle of all the good stuff. You've got your SBOM, so you know exactly what software components are inside. You've got the findings from your security scans. You have the record of the policy decisions that were made, and all the data about its origin. And the most critical part, it's all locked down tight with a cryptographic signature. Nothing can be changed without breaking the seal. Okay, theory is great,
But let's get real. How does this actually work for a developer or a DevOps person on a Tuesday afternoon? What do they actually have to do?
You're going to love this. It boils down to something ridiculously simple, because the last thing anyone wants is more friction for developers. You go into your existing CI/CD pipeline, the one you already use, and you add two simple commands from a little tool called Insight-CTL. That's it. Seriously, that's the whole implementation. So here's that two-step workflow. Step 1, you run Insight Control Proof. Think of this as the workhorse. It does all the heavy lifting, runs the scans, bundles everything up, and creates that signed proof pack. Then, step 2, Insight Control Verify Pack. This is the bouncer at the club. It checks for a valid proof pack. And the rule is dead simple. No proof, you don't get in. The code doesn't ship. The pipeline stops. Right there. And that right there is the unlock. That's how you finally solve the paradox. You get to move fast, really fast, but now you've got the receipts. You have undeniable proof that you did it safely every single time. So, what does this all add up to? Let's talk about real-world results and who this is an absolute game changer for right now. Well, the folks who are feeling this burn the most are definitely in those high-stakes, highly regulated industries. We're talking about AI-driven fintech, healthcare AI, anything in autonomous systems where safety is critical, or really any big SaaS company that's handling tons of sensitive personal data, that PII. For these teams, the burden of proof isn't just a nice to have, it's everything. And look, the results from early pilots really speak for themselves. We're seeing massive drops in alert noise. We're seeing developers fix issues way faster. And then, and this is the jaw dropper, audit prep time just plummets to basically zero. Why? Because the evidence is just there. It's created automatically with every single build. Just look at this. It really puts it into perspective. All those painful hours, that manual audit scramble we talked about, grabbing screenshots and digging through logs, gone. They just evaporate. It's a huge productivity boost that lets your engineers get back to what they're supposed to be doing, building great things, not filling out paperwork.
So, for teams out there who are nodding along, who are living this paradox every single sprint, there's actually a design partner pilot program available to get in on this.
Here's how it works. It's a 60 to 90-day pilot. There's a flat fee of $10,000, and that full amount gets credited back to you if you decide to subscribe later on. All right, let's wrap up with this final thought. For so long, we've all been trained to think of security as the brakes, the necessary thing that slows us down. But what if that's completely backward? What if by building a system on verifiable proof, you could flip the script entirely and turn security from the biggest blocker into your greatest productivity multiplier? That's the difference we're talking about. It's about shipping proof, not just promises.